Welcome to Tech Talks by Nasscom Insights. At a time when the world is besotted with automating everything, obviously autonomously with AI agents today, we have with us a highly accomplished leader who's trying to bring balance to real and pragmatic enterprise automation solutions. I'm privileged to be joined in person by Mahesh Vinayagam, CEO and founder of qBotica Inc. Mahesh, welcome to Tech Talks by Nasscom Insights.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you to Nasscom for all the support they have been affording to qBotica over time.
Wonderful. qBotica, viewers, is a Phoenix, US-based startup with its India office in Chennai and global operations. It specializes in RPA-based intelligent automation solutions for the enterprises and is rapidly foraying into agentic AI solutions. We'll hear a lot more from Mahesh about this. Mahesh himself brings extensive experience on the tech services side with 20 years plus in Syntel, and immediately after that, a streak of entrepreneurial activity. He's founded at least 3 to 4 startups. He serves on the Council of Future Business Leaders of America, the Arizona chapter, as well as the Forbes Tech Council. Mahesh, fantastic to have you again with us. I'm sure it's going to be an enriching journey through our conversation, and we would love to hear a lot more from you. So without wasting further time, let's get started.
Absolutely.
My first question, tell us a little bit about your personal journey. How has it helped shape your career thus far? And how has it led to qBotica?
Absolutely. Thank you. And just like millions of other Indian students or Indian folks, right? So I was forced into engineering. I said, okay, engineering is the choice that you have to take. In college, I would have just happily done arts or math, but I was forced to engineering. But then after engineering, I think things turned. There was a huge influx of organizations coming into India, like companies like Syntel. I think Cognizant was being born at the time, Satyam, and all these companies. So I was fortunate enough to get a job right out of college at Syntel. Joined them as an trainee, fresher, intern, however you want to call it. And within a couple of years, with the Y2K wave pushing everybody to the overseas, I actually ended up in the UK. And coming from a humble background, my dad was a factory worker at TVS in Chennai, and my mom worked at the milk cooperative. And so we actually had a very humble life, probably like 150 square feet house, and all the 5 of us kind of really being there. But then with that humble beginnings, going overseas was a big accomplishment in itself. But while being there, obviously, I started to understand how the West actually has respect for individual, respect for humans, respect for talent, and all of that. So it gave me a lot more strength, and leverage that to climb the ladder with Syntel. Took many things from engineering, like from development towards management, then into sales. And in fact, I ended up doing a course in Harvard Business School for sales and strategy. That actually really turned my life, I must say. I think kind of really brushing shoulders with top CIOs and CROs and of very large organizations. I was thinking like, I think I'm made for the big league, which I wasn't actually appreciating myself more. I think I should have given more credit to myself in the early stage of my life. But it took me like so long to kind of really understand the strength. And within, I think when I was in Boston, at that weekend, one of the weekends, I picked up a book, Entrepreneurial Roller Coaster by Darrell Brown. Fantastic book. I was like, it really showed what's going on in my mind, and that really pushed me into entrepreneurship. So that's kind of like my personal journey, by an engineer towards sales, and now I'm an entrepreneur.
Nice, wonderful. I think very interesting and very key that you mentioned that appreciating oneself
Yes.
as you are growing
Exactly.
up the ladder,
Exactly.
even in the formative years,
Correct.
really sets the ground. And I think makes you very fearless about your capabilities as well. So I think one lesson to begin with is the appreciation, and I want to just take that forward a little bit, Mahesh. I'm sure some point while you were in Sintel, this idea of being on an entrepreneurial journey would have struck you. How did that happen?
Yeah, I would say that entrepreneurship was running, in my mind probably even earlier than that.
Right.
Even when I was in school, I was actually, having some side gigs. I was actually selling software training at Aptech for some time. The courses, obviously they gave me a good commission, and at the time it was a good one. It helped me have my own fun. I know that depending on my dad, obviously coming, as I mentioned, we're actually couldn't afford a lot of things, but I think that helped me afford a little bit. I was doing all these side gigs right then and as well, so there was that I have to get into entrepreneurship at some point. But then going back to appreciating oneself, and then the community setup, right? It is obviously the societal setup, until probably I think now it's great in India, but probably until 5-6 years ago, I think the society always respected someone as a steady job. Even a government job is respected more than somebody that's actually running their own business, right? So I think that was what actually pulling me back. Obviously you have a family, you have a child, and then you have to save for that and all that. And once I broke that, and at Sintel, I was obviously gave me that, helped me understand how to run a business. I learned the ropes, and I was actually, talking to our colleague here, and he was mentioning he was doing a lot of the other things, right? So he was a all-rounder, and that's how I was. I was actually handling vendor management. I was actually helping them negotiate on sales, helping them obviously delivery perspective, a new engineering background, and helped the CEO prepare for his meetings with clients and all that. So I kind of really got analyst relations, working with representing the company in certain calls and all that. That gave me a perspective. I think once you learn different aspects of running a business, that also helps you a lot more successful when you're actually running your own venture, I would say.
Very rightly put, Mahesh. I think that's very, very important, that experience does matter.
Yes.
And as a startup founder, you probably need a lot of skills, multiple skills, different kinds of cross-functional skills to come together.
Exactly.
We'll get to that.
And one more thing I'll add is exposure. It doesn't need to be experience as well. I think exposure. My daughter is now applying for Meta for a rotational project manager or program manager role, and I asked what is that, and she said, this particular role helps place them into different groups. It's called a rotational manager. I'm like, you're getting into a job. The purpose of that job is to rotate you between departments, and I think that's what some companies are adopting in terms of when you're creating leaders, you need to really give them exposure across various departments. I think I would say exposure plus experience as well.
Fantastic. And I can almost see that happen, in the way qBotica is.
Yes.
I think you started off as an automation and an RPA company.
Correct.
But now onto the agentic AI journey.
Yes.
How do you actually see qBotica's role in today's world when we are kind of running after a lot of automation?
Correct.
Everybody wants to have AI agents now.
Correct.
A step beyond automation, right? What is the qBotica offering? Tell us a little bit more about what this journey is.
Absolutely. qBotica, when we started, obviously with the name qBotica, is all about bots. So we actually knew in 2017 that AI is coming, but AI was there in the consumer side of things, whether it is the autonomous cars and our telephones and all of those other things. It's there, but then enterprise AI adoption was not even there. Probably even 1% of adoption was not there at that time. And my strength is in the enterprise space, right? In the shared services space. That's what Sintel was doing all along. So I needed to obviously find where my strengths lie and where there is a trend. So I need to kind of really see where is that intersection of the trend and my experience and my strengths. Then I figured, while AI is coming, it will come at some point. and robotic process automation is a step towards AI, right? So obviously for AI to work, you need to unlock the information from the humans, because AI replaces the human intelligence, right? Other software is about software plays. Now even whether it's a CRMs or ERPs and all that, that's a different story, right? It's about like patterns of work or information that's already there in systems. But when you're actually applying AI is replacing human work. So when it's replacing human work, there's a lot of information that you have to gain from how humans actually perform actions within the different processes within these enterprises. So in order to do that, to extract that information, you need to really, RPA paved the way for that extraction of information. So RPA really records what the human does step by step, and logs those activities which were not there earlier. People were actually doing these actions, and it was not really documented or even recorded within the enterprise footprint, right? If you see those, only the result of a human action was recorded in the systems, not how they got it to that particular result was not recorded. Right. But with RPA now, it recorded how they are actually getting out to that result. So now you could actually take that, and the AI now understands, if a human took this path to achieve this function, how fast could I actually merge those steps, or how fast I can actually do those or eliminate those. Or I could always say, in RPA, it's always deterministic, which means that I need to know where I start and where I end and what are the steps in between. But when you want to accelerate this, you need to kind of really mix and match. So that's kind of where we are now getting into the AI space, because we already have the fundamentals of RPA done, and that made the transition a lot more easy for us. So we were prepared for it. And I might say we are the OGs of OpenAI. I can claim it, because in 2020 there was this client of ours, and I can actually name them because we are partners almost right now, Polaris Transportation in Canada. They came up to me and they gave me a challenge, saying that, okay, if you want business from me, I already use WorkFusion, which is one of the best softwares in the RPA space. You should solve a problem that WorkFusion cannot solve, right? And the problem that they showed me was like, I get thousands of emails every day for requests for quotes, and these could be in any format, like it could be in a structured, unstructured, and there is no really any format, because people are actually asking, okay, what's the quote? That's kind of incoming business, right? So you can ask a customer to say you have to give it in this format when they're requesting for business. So, and they had a huge team that was actually taking those emails and converting them into codes. And they said, could you actually automate this, because other RPA software couldn't do it because it's not deterministic. We don't know how the data will come in, right? So there is no structure to it, and it could be in various forms. And people that are writing those emails could be from different backgrounds, from Hispanic backgrounds, from Punjabi backgrounds, and so on and so forth. They're actually writing it up in English, so it's all going to be mix and match. So when we read those, we obviously figured it's going to be complex, and we figured this API from OpenAI at the time in 2020, and it gave us the best results. That was our first foray into the AI world, and from then on, that particular software has been running quite well for the last 5 years, and now we are actually taking it to the next step in terms of that was like more into Gen AI stuff. Now we are actually getting into the agentic AI. I'll come in a minute, where now not only that's only for one process. Now take that, now you can handle any email coming in. It could be a request for jobs, it could be customer service inquiry and all that kind of stuff, how you could actually do that. And if we get a chance, I could actually demonstrate it for 5 minutes how that works on agentic AI, but we'll do that maybe after this or right now, however you want to do it.
Sure. Thanks, Mahesh. Actually, a very interesting point of view on how organizations should be thinking about moving from, if they already have RPA,
Correct.
to agentic AI, what's the real benefit of it?
Yeah.
And even for organizations, I believe that have not taken the path of RPA and who are leaping straight into agentic AI.
Yeah.
The fact that these enterprise automation solutions seen across the processes
Correct.
can be very, very transformative. But here's one question, Mahesh, for you then. We're seeing a lot of debate as Gen AI and agentic AI becomes more and more mature and adopted, that we are moving more towards productization of services. You also offer automation as a service.
Correct.
What's your view? How is this environment shaping? Are we going to see a lot more bundling of services into very, very specific kinds of packages that companies can literally buy and apply? Is that the idea, or there's a lot more to it?
It has to be. I think it was always supposed to be the case. But then I think there is this classic consultancies that kind of really moved into calling themselves engineering firms to an extent.
And now the reverse is happening.
The reverse is happening right now, right? So, when I started qBotica, that's one thing I wanted to obviously disrupt. I knew services as an industry, is not a viable thing, because it's all based on human talent, human retention. All they're doing is like a glorified consultancies who are specialized in human retention and keeping them in long terms. They weren't really pushing as much engineering mindset were coming from the clients. The clients are actually telling them what to build, and they were just building it, right? So I wanted to create a automation as a service portfolio where the bots would actually do a lot of those work, the engineering work. And I want to retain some of the IP, assetize some of those work that we are doing. So from the start, we have been actually making sure that in our contracts, we retain certain value from what we deliver. And we actually had a platform called Document AI that goes along with our work. So we always sold services with platform. And I think that's how we call it automation as a service. Now HFS calls it services as software. Right. And I was at the conference a couple of weeks ago. Fantastic. I think the services world moving towards it is much needed because the clients want outcomes. They want results. They do not want hours and contracts, right? So that's kind of what they do not want. They want, okay, what is that you are kind of really go from an outcome standpoint, not headcounts. And we believe AI is pushing everybody towards that direction. And it's not only the enterprise choosing to do from typical automation to AI-based automation, it's the consumers that are actually pushing it. The market, the industry itself is now making that push for them to adopt AI. So if you don't adopt, you're done. It's as good as mobile apps in the 10 years ago, 15 years ago. If you don't have a mobile app, you're dead as a business, and that's how AI is now. Everybody has to do it.
Absolutely. Great point, actually. The entire services model having to move to products. But Mahesh, startups typically in this space,
yes,
especially in the US, are more product focused.
Correct.
Whereas if you look at startups in India, there's a lot more affinity to
services.
Right?
Correct.
What would your recommendation be for a lot of these Gen AI and agentic AI startups who are trying to sort of get the foothold through fine-tuning applications? How to build sustainable product stories? What would be your advice?
So I would say that we are a very service-oriented culture. If you think about it, we like to impress others and try to kind of really customize things to how our customer or our guest or whoever it is, right, they want. It's not about, hey, this is what I do, you would have to adopt my ways. And that's how we have been brought up and all that. I think fundamental to that is that's the issue, right? That we are very service oriented. Our services are A class, while productization fails. Products fail when you customize it too much. Right, and so it has to be like you need to have a roadmap. You need to have the features will get in, so the customers will get what they want, but they just have to wait, right? You have to evolve your product how you want it to be, and also
R&D cycle.
Exactly, and then so I think that's a fundamental difference. But that said, the services startups now need to really figure out what really sticks, and just be very focused. I think we are customers will come in all types, all forms and shapes. They will ask all kind of different things. Going back to my original stuff, you cannot actually cater to everyone. So we needed to be restrict ourselves to say that this is what I would do. Like I said, like I would only do RPA, and I'll only do with direct clients. I had, companies coming and offering us subcontracting and all the other staffing stuff, do other projects. I said no. Right? Analysts coming and telling me that you have to diversify. This is so narrow. I said no. This is what we would do, and I think that's important. That if you like to do it for a company, you would want to make sure that they have a very niche. The niche can be broad itself. Niche is like when I'm saying, just stick to one thing. Like,
sure.
Like I said, shared services. Shared services is huge, right? And direct customers. That's kind of how I went in, and within the RPA and AI. So if you see how I actually restricting myself to an extent, I think, and also negotiate hard with the clients to retain IP. Right? When the services startups needs to make into a product, you need IP. If you don't have IP, then you are just a services company, right? So how do you actually develop your IP? How you push your IP, continue to grow that IP? That's all negotiation. It's very important that you need to be confident.
Right.
Going back to myself, you appreciate yourself, even though you're a small company, right? I actually go and negotiate every contract. I take even a month. I would not be like people say, if you don't sign up, we are going to not give you the MSA. I would say, okay, we have to go through that process to get the MSA. We have to kind of really stand up for ourselves. And our principles and move forward, then I think we can do it.
I think fantastic thoughts there, Mahesh. Stand up for yourselves, the confidence that startup founders bring in, just the whole founding activity itself.
Correct.
And then the capability to negotiate. I think we're getting into that space where it's a lot more about customization, contextualization, and negotiation basis what the customer needs. I think fantastic tips that you shared with us. It's been an enriching conversation, Mahesh. Thank you so much for your time. Viewers, we'll wrap our conversation with Mahesh here,
yes.
But do stay tuned. We'll be putting this full video on Nasscom Insights YouTube channel. So subscribe and stay informed. Till the next conversation, take care. Bye-bye.
Sure. Thank you.